January 11th, 2016 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. This meeting is being recorded. Is there anybody in the audience recording this meeting tonight? Being none, can we all stand and pledge the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, tonight there are no public comments. We have no public hearings or presentations. There are no communications in front of us. And the first Board of Selectmen general items, custody of a dog deemed dangerous by the Town of Leicester Board of Selectmen on June 13th. And I'll ask Amy and Darlene if you would come up and join us, please, and give us a little bit of background on what we've got here.
Thank you very much. So the reason that we are here is because we wanted to bring to your attention that the Department of Inspectional Development and Inspectional Services was notified of a dog that was deemed dangerous by the Town of Leicester, was within the Town of Auburn on or around December 21st. At that time, our animal control officer and myself reviewed the information with the animal control officer and also with the Town of Leicester Board of Selectmen's office. We requested copies of any orders, any paperwork, any information that they had regarding this animal, and we did receive that information from the office. They were very helpful and got that paperwork over to us. We reviewed that paperwork and found that the Board of Selectmen in the Town of Leicester had deemed a 2.5-year-old yellow lab dangerous under Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, and that was done on July 13th, 2015, obviously in the summertime. There were specific requirements that they had put upon the owner of the dog, and those are included in the paperwork that you have before you. That order was placed upon the owner for the dog, and that order remained in effect as of the date for December 21st when we learned about it. The reason that it's coming before you is because at some point that dog was moved from Leicester to Auburn. It's unclear the exact date of when that happened. However, we believe there might be a family tie from the owner from the Town of Leicester with a tie for the Town of Auburn. So that dog was, again, moved at some point. An inspection was done by myself and the animal control officer on December 22nd. And we attempted to speak with the Auburn resident that believed to have the dog, and that was not successful. There wasn't anybody home at that time. However, we did observe a dog that met the description and was at the property that we were informed of. Pictures of the dog were taken by our animal control officer, and again, we attempted to speak to somebody there. We left information. We also left a copy of the order that you have before you for December 21st. And again, tried to make contact with them. In that order, we basically mirrored the order that was given by the Board of Selectmen through the Town of Leicester, and all of the All of the requirements that the town of Leicester had put upon the dangerous dog were identified in this order with a timeline. So again, we wanted to speak with them in person. We made attempts to do that. We left cards at the property, and we did not hear back from the Auburn resident that had the dog at that point. There was a timeline put in place for this order. So from December 22nd to January 6th, they had time to contact us. They had time to put the measurements of what's in place for the dangerous dog requirements. And again, we did not hear from anybody. On January 6th, again, Amy and myself performed another site visit attempting to speak with the Auburn resident with the dog. We saw evidence that there was a dog there. We did not see the actual dog at that point, but there were paw prints in the snow and so forth. So it was believed that the dog may possibly still be there. So being that it is a dog that has been deemed dangerous by another municipality we wanted to bring to your attention, which is the January 6th letter that you have before you. I want to also let you know that we have made attempts and reached out to the town of Leicester. They have been very easy to work with. The animal control officer has identified late this afternoon that they believe that the dog has returned to the town of Leicester. So at this time, I do not believe that that dog is in the town of Auburn, based on the information that has been presented to me. We are here because going forward, if there's the chance that this dog comes back into town, we want to take steps to make sure that the situation doesn't become an unsafe one.
Well, I guess my first question is, if the dog has come back, or you have suspected the dog has come back, the location where it is, have they done any of the work that needs to be done to meet the requirements of the Board of Selectmen of Leicester?
We have not seen any of the exterior requirements that we would expect to see. So again, can't confirm that without, speaking with the Auburn resident. However, in just pulling up to the property, we did not see any enclosures or any sort of safety measures in place.
Well, then, what would you like to see from this board tonight?
So if I may, I would like to give Amy a chance to just identify with the Mass General Law through the Board of Selectmen for the authority that you have to be able to allow us to move it to a court of competent jurisdiction to be able to enforce the law.
And a hearing would not have to be had here. If we gave you that authority, then you could move that right along and take this into your own hands and handle this.
That's correct, and I'll just confirm with our animal control officer.
Okay. Amy, please.
Yeah, thank you. So if the owners are found to be non-compliant with the orders issued by the Board of Selectmen, those orders do follow the dog throughout the state. So if it does come back into Auburn, those Leicester orders should follow it here. But if the owner's not compliant with that, our Board of Selectmen does have the authority to either bring them in front of you guys for a hearing and give them the chance to come into compliance, or it can go straight to district court.
Okay. Mrs. Goodrich.
Thank you. I have a procedural question. I noticed that you sent them notice, and they had until January 6th to comply. Is there a statutory requirement regarding the notice and the time frame they have to comply?
So that's a great question. We did that as a courtesy. Again, looking to try to speak with the people believed to have the dog. We wanted the chance to speak with them and give them a chance to, identify, the dog was not there. Unfortunately, we saw the dog. And B, if they were going to keep the dog, if it was a family member and they somehow were going to take upon that responsibility, to give them a chance to bring into compliance. Because there's restrictions on the pen, I think as identified in the letter, that's not going to happen overnight. So give them a chance to actually create the pen, to house the dog outside. So again, we wanted to be reasonable. This did occur the week of Christmas, and so Christmas into New Year's, everybody has family commitments at that point, or believed to be. So we wanted to kind of give them a period of approximately, I think it was 2 weeks, to be able to come into compliance.
Yes, Ms.
If I may,
Goodrich.
Mr. Chairman. So the reason I asked is my concern would be, and I want you to have the opportunity to take immediate action, my concern would be the dog moves back to Leicester. They're not in compliance in Leicester. By the time Leicester serves proper notification, if there is statutory requirement, then they move him back to the relative in Auburn, and it becomes like a shell game. Well, the dog isn't in Leicester, now the dog is in Auburn. And I just want to ensure whatever action that this board takes, that you can take immediate action. It doesn't have to be a 2-week.
And if I may, the action that if the board is allowing us to move forward with the court process for enforcement, that would be action that we could take immediately.
Mr. Simonian.
So I had the same concern that Mrs. Goodrich just expressed, and I reached out to the town administrator in Leicester, and I spoke with him briefly this afternoon, and he told me that the owners have complied with some of the order, and I don't know how much time they've had. What was the date? You said it was issued. It's on there somewhere, right?
For the town of Auburn?
No, the one that the Leicester Board of Selectmen.
It was July 13th.
July
Okay,
13th.
so they've had roughly 6 months to comply, and they've only complied with some of what the Leicester Board of Selectmen. So I had a concern there, because while I think that 2 weeks might be tough, 6 months is certainly enough time. And he said, as far as he knew, they had erected the enclosure, but they hadn't done other things. So I'm kind of the mindset that they've already had enough time, and if that's their intent, or whatever, appearances can be one thing, but I don't want to see someone in Auburn get hurt because someone's playing a game, where, oh, it's in Auburn, oh, it's in Leicester, whatever. It's not a chance I want to take. So I'm happy to move forward with just saying to let it become a court issue and not waste the time of coming back here.
Mrs. Brotherton.
Darlene or Amy, do either one of you know if the individual who was allegedly attacked by the dog, did they press charges?
I'm going to allow Amy to answer that. I don't know if we know about the charges, but I know Amy does have specific pictures of the attack.
I do have that available if you wanted to view the pictures, but the individual that was attacked was approximately 90 years old.
Okay.
Excuse me, point of order. I just want to ask, I'm going to, through the chair to the town manager, in case there is legal action pending over this, I don't know if this is something that should be discussed. I don't want to see us wind up in any kind of litigation, so I'm just asking before we have this conversation.
Through the chair, I'm not aware of any legal action, but I think mentioning that there was a person that was severely injured by the dog is fine to say.
Okay, that's...
Yeah, but as far as legal action, I don't know, we don't know what that person may or may not have done, but I think what we are able to tell you is that the person was severely attacked.
Okay.
It was a vicious attack.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Yes, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen authorize the animal inspector to take immediate action through the district court if this dog is brought back into the town of Auburn.
Second.
Any discussion?
And
Mrs. Goodrich.
Sorry.
Just under discussion, where they were given the opportunity to respond to the animal control officer, where it was clear that, if the dog was outside, there were people home, so it wasn't like they were gone away for the holiday. I think that they ignored the attempts by the town to contact them, and I think it would be necessary to take immediate action in district court.
Mrs. Brotherton?
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
Through the chair, if I may, I
Yeah.
think Darlene Coy wanted to add one.
Please.
Excuse me, I just for clarification, if you could just amend the motion for animal control to be able to take action. Animal inspector and animal control officer sometimes are viewed as two separate functions.
Would you go along with that amendment?
Yes,
Okay.
animal control and you through the Department of
Inspectional Services.
Inspectional Services.
Thank you very much.
Second is okay, Mrs. Brotherton?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
And Sharon, have you got that? Okay. So that it's been discussed. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And good luck.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move up Town Manager item 6A.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Cindy, would you come forward, please? And just give us a little background on this?
Certainly.
Please.
Okay, at the fall town meeting, the town voted to accept Paul Revere as a public way. The taxes to that date were paid in full by the owner, but we now have two bills under the town of Auburn's ownership that are due for the January and the April payments, and those are the bills that I'm requesting that we abate as the town is exempt. I apologize for the typo that was on the original letter. It should be 187.37 is the total taxes due, and you are allowed to do that under Chapter 59, Section 72A.
Is there anything, Mr. Simonian?
Yeah, can you just explain, I guess, are we abating taxes for the town?
Yes.
Okay.
It's two choices.
Is that just a procedural thing? It almost seems kind of comical, but I'm just curious, like how this...
Yes. Anytime that the town acquires a piece of property during the fiscal year and the tax bills have already been issued, we have to go through the process. It's Chapter 59, Section 72A, and the Board of Selectmen has to formally request that the assessors abate that tax.
So we acquired the land from
Yes.
a resident, or?
No, this is actually, it's the roadway, Paul Revere Road.
Oh, because we took the road.
Because we accepted the
Okay.
road. It was taxable up until the point it was accepted.
So we paid taxes to ourselves and then abated?
Well, that's why we're abating it, so we don't have to pay taxes to us.
That's what I thought was going on here. I just want, thank you, I'm good.
Okay. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen, under Chapter 72A, abate the taxes due in the amount of $187.37 for Paul Revere Road.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
Okay. Next thing we have is some gift acceptances tonight. First, the Auburn Public Library, Dorothy B. Stonsky in memory of Vincent Stonsky, the amount of $300 for the miscellaneous gift account.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept with gratitude.
Motion been made, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. And from the Department of Inspectional Services. Jill Green for $20 to the Catherine Sabina Animal Compound, a donation to the animal shelter on behalf of Taya Green and her godmother Danielle Contois.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept with gratitude.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we have no proclamations in front of us tonight. The next one we have is the town manager evaluation process. I'd like to just go through it. Just what we have is the evaluation period runs from the 31st of January through January 30th of each year, and the manager will submit a narrative to us, self-evaluation of the board by February 21st, and then each member will obtain a copy of that report and evaluation forms at that time. Completed evaluation submitted to the chairman of the board by Selectmen, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen by March 15th, and then the chairman and vice chairman will develop a written summary of the evaluations and discuss the evaluation results by March 31st. Each member will summarize his or her own evaluation as a town manager at a board meeting to be held by April 30th. And any contract discussions and compensation in accordance with the town manager contract will proceed following the evaluation and must be completed by May 31st. I'm just bringing this to the board. It is coming, and just to keep it in mind so that the process can go along, and we'll be ready to go with it and have it run efficiently and smoothly. So if there's any questions or not, we'll look forward to seeing that process that comes along to us. Thank you. Let's see. We have no tabled items tonight, but we have update on the municipal aggregation plan.
Thank you. I wanted to take the opportunity to explain to some of the residents, because people are starting to get their bills, and the board members may receive questions from residents, as well as our office has as well. I just want to update you on the process and how the billing works. So the municipal aggregation plan that the town was approved for, initiated in December of 2015, the first bill in January should reflect some of that change. And I say some because it begins in December based on your meter reading date. Some residents, the meter reading dates are different for every area in town. So some residents may have a reading date in the middle of the month. Some may have a meter reading date at the end of the month. Some smaller communities, their meters are read generally in a 2-day period that's consistent throughout the town. Here it's very different. There are a number of different meter reading dates because it's a larger community, I'm assuming. So the bill that residents are receiving now, for those who were automatically enrolled in the program, which are those who are on the basic rate from National Grid, may show a blended rate for December. So if your meter was read December 23rd, the first 23 days of December, you were at National Grid's rate of 13.023, I believe, or 12. And then the remaining 8 days of the month would probably be at our rate of 0.9522. So the blended rate would probably be somewhere well above 12, if that's when your meter date was read. And that's what you'll see on your bill. So some people have called and said, we're seeing a rate that's not National Grid's rate and it's not your rate. It's because they blended it because of the meter reading date. That will auto-correct in that when you receive your bill for the month of January, because the entire month of January will be on the 9.522 rate. So when you receive that bill in February, your whole bill should reflect that rate. There are, so again, the full month of January will be 0.9522 or 9.5 cents, 9.522. There are a couple reasons that people have not been included on the automatic enrollment that have been brought to our attention, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention as well. If National Grid customers at any point in the last few years, not even recently, at any point, National Grid offered an opportunity for customers to sign up for something called Do Not Solicit, which is for National Grid only. It wasn't a do not solicit for any vendor, but a do not solicit for National Grid, so customers wouldn't be getting calls from National Grid telling them about different programs, and maybe they didn't want to hear about it. So they signed up for a do not solicit. Those names were not included on the basic rate list because they weren't a basic rate. They were pulled out of it to be called something else for their category purposes, so no one would call them. So they can opt into the program, it shouldn't be a problem. They'll have to call Colonial to opt in. We've pretty much gone through most of the issues. If there was someone who fell into that category, we found one customer that we believe fell into that category. They realized that they had done so a couple of years ago, and Colonial is working with them to get them opted into the program. Sometimes an opt-in takes 2 meter readings. It takes 2 billing cycles, because it depends on where you fall. They've got to get the paperwork in. So you may not see it immediately on your first bill if your first bill comes in quickly after your meter was read under the old rate. A couple of other reasons that a participant may not have been included is if as a National Grid customer, you ever signed up for something called the Green Up program, which was an energy-efficient, energy-saving program called Green Up. Green Up customers were segregated from basic rate customers. They were different. So again, they were not on the list that is provided to us under the statute and under how this program works. So under the law, how this program works is the basic rate customers are the ones that are automatically enrolled. So there's 2 instances where customers would not have been on that basic rate. So again, if we can usually get to the bottom of it, Colonial Power has been able to help the residents that so far have had an issue. And lastly, and we have been talking about this, if you were under contract with another supplier to receive energy from another supplier, you're not going to be on the National Grid basic rate. Again, you can opt into our program at any time for no cost, and you can opt out, but it doesn't trigger until that meter reading date, because that's what actually triggers you being into the program. And again, contact Colonial Power, and I just want to repeat the number again. It's on our website, but we want to just make sure everyone has it. It's 508-485-5858. So it's 508-485-5858. Generally, you have to leave a message, and they should get back to you within the day. And again, they have been able to help just about everybody on their issues. Again, it's because the rate started in December, it shows that blended rate, so it caused a little bit of confusion. But likewise, when the rate goes until next December, you'll still see part of that rate on your next January bill. So you'll still get your full 12 months as an automatically enrolled person.
Great. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Again, we have no tabled items tonight, none of the Board of Selectmen member items. Public comments. Has anybody on the board got anything? Being none, we have minutes in front of us from July 13th of 2015 and also July 27th of 2015. Is there any questions, comments, corrections? Being none, I'll accept them as presented. And being nothing else,
Motion to adjourn.
in a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, and good night.